And now to discuss more about the latest telephonic conversation as well as today's European Union meeting, I'm joined by DD India correspondent on Foreign Affairs Akshay Dongre from New Delhi. Good afternoon, Akshay. Now this conversation between Donald Trump and Zelensky to first talk about comes ahead of the Sunday meeting and after Trump's lengthy call with Vladimir Putin as well. Take us through the key highlights of this recent conversation, Akshay.
Well, Deepika, this was in fact a very important conversation because the kind of showdown that we have seen a couple of weeks back has been devastating, especially for the image of the Ukrainian president who had gone to the Oval Office to discuss all the aspects of the ongoing war with the US president. However, the situation that we are seeing on the ground has not changed much, but after the telephonic conversation between President Trump and President Putin, it was expected that Donald Trump will also be engaging with the Ukrainian counterpart as well, as far as bringing all sides to the table are concerned when it comes to negotiating a ceasefire and the end to the conflict that has been going on for the past 3 years. Now, as far as the key highlights are concerned, Ukraine has asked US to be present as far as any temporary ceasefire is concerned, to mediate the ceasefire as well as to monitor it, so that in a way it gets ensured that the kind of deal that has been done to implement this ceasefire is adhered to by all the sides. However, it remains to be seen that what kind of implementation takes place on the ground when it comes to this lengthy conflict that has been going on for quite some time. There has been an agreement that was made earlier in the telephonic conversation between the Russian and the US leader that the energy infrastructure will not be targeted by the Russian side, and that is on the condition that Ukrainian sides also respect the same commitment as far as the energy infrastructure in the Russian territory is concerned. So the situation remains complicated, but this was and in fact a better conversation than the last one that happened between the two leaders of Ukraine and the US. So there are hopes that a ceasefire will be implemented, but what are going to be the concessions that Ukraine will have to give as far as its territory is concerned, that is the biggest question, because Russia has been asking for Donetsk region, the Donbas region, the Russian-speaking region, Crimea as well, to be recognized as Russian territory. That is the biggest sticking point, apart from the conversation that was regarding the NATO membership of the Ukraine. That was in fact one of the biggest reason for the outbreak of the conflict. So these were certain highlights, but there are going to be other follow-ups of this engagement that has taken place to ensure that the ceasefire is in fact implemented on the ground, and that then further, after a temporary ceasefire, a permanent one can be discussed among the leaders of the three countries.
And we also know the fact, Akshay, that European Union is also meeting today, and ahead of it, we also heard the statement, and I quote the statement, that continued support to Ukraine and the need to invest in defense and competitiveness are closely interlinked as per the European Union. You know, Akshay, we would like to understand that how is it going to put an impact on the ongoing progressive talks between Donald Trump and Zelensky?
Well, it's highly unlikely that the meeting in Europe is going to have any significant impact as far as the progressive talks are concerned. And the reason for that is the Ukrainian leadership realizes, and they are aware of the fact that it is the United States of America that is the biggest bulwark of force as far as NATO forces are concerned. Many of the NATO countries are not even spending about 2% on their defenses as far as protecting their own countries are concerned, as far as contributing to the forces of NATO that require quite a lot of expenditure. And the biggest money was coming in from the US. The most sophisticated arms were coming in from the United States. And in fact, unless the US is involved as far as these talks are concerned, it's not going to mean much, especially at a time when European Union is also fragmented as far as their support to the Ukrainian leadership is concerned. So while there are countries that are agreeing to ramping up their defense spending, it has to be seen in the context that US is willing to pull out of NATO as well. There have been talks going on that US has been doing much of the work, incurring most of the expenses, even for the security of the European countries who themselves are not using their own money as far as the defense expenditure is concerned. So Ukrainian side realizes that even though if defense spending is being ramped up, it cannot be done at a scale that would be desired by the Ukrainian leadership. As far as this conflict is concerned, there are going to be certain issues as far as getting a unanimity on supporting Ukraine is concerned, even among the European countries. For example, Hungary has not given any arms to Ukraine in this conflict, and they have been saying that that more has to be done from inside Ukraine as far as the conflict is concerned. Countries are calling for ceasefire as well. So there is a unanimity even in Europe. So the Ukrainian side does realize that unless US is involved as far as these talks are concerned regarding either ceasefire or continuation of this conflict, just the support of European Union or the European countries is not going to impact the conflict much.
All right. Thank you so much, Akshay, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on the developing situation.